Here we are. Did this work?
We're live.
We are. Did you notice what's in the back here? We're at Fish Camp.
Big water and big wine, apparently.
Big wine, yeah. We're in wine country. We're fishing walleyes. You guys been following along, seeing that stuff. You can get your comments answered. Is that the problem?
Well, I think they're questions.
They're questions.
They can make comments.
They make comments, yeah. It's been a long day. I've had to deal with Travis. This is day 3.
Feels like 5.
Yeah, it's I've got fatigue already. You know what I'm saying? I got tea fatigue, Travis. But at any rate, we got wine back here. We are at our mobile fish camp. We've been fishing the deep water. We've got some killer videos we just shot the last 2 days. We just did a podcast as well. I know you are immediate out, aren't you?
Been hanging out with the midges too.
Yeah, my boat is even dirtier than normal. If you know, you know. We got phones ringing over here. There we go. At any rate, we're going to talk about some different things we've been trying to talk about for a while, because again, fishing stuff I think is one of those things where like we can argue I like thunder sticks and you want to use brand X or whatever, and I like purple and you want rainbow trout. Like those are things that are somewhat subjective, right? And then I think there's some things that we don't really get that have like some science behind it, right? So should we media team, we have a whole team behind us here. It kind of looks like a freak show. Should we answer some of the questions we've already been given before we get going? Do that. So we had some questions already. Update, Travis, on the perch population and the Central Basin limit. Pretty good one.
Well, everyone's pretty aware with perch that, it's not a lake-wide deal. So with walleye, we talk about the lake-wide population. Generally, when it's good in the west, obviously those fish migrate down here. Perch are totally different. We have regional populations. We have hatch success that varies depending on where you are. And right now, the Western Basin's good. We have a 30 limit. That's as high as it can be. We have good catch rates, good population. And right now, as we speak, fishing's really firing up. It gets good when the water heats up in the west. Central Basin is a different story. We're here in the east zone of the Central Basin as far as Ohio is considered. And we're at 20 limit right now. So it's down from 30 where it was. And then the middle zone, the central zone, as we call it, is only 10. So you do need to know where you are if you're going perch fishing, and you need to keep the limit for the zone you're fishing. But that's absolutely because the perch population varies regionally, and hatch success can be very different each year in each region.
So we got pretty deep into this on a podcast, so we won't do this again. You guys should check out the podcast coming out in a little bit with this guy. But perch, which is, you give me the exact numbers. Perch grow really fast. What did you say, 7 or 8 inches in the first year?
So they're growing faster than they've ever grown, and we have 2-year-old perch that are hitting 9 inches.
Don't you wish, guys, you could grow 7 inches in a year? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Anyhow, but they don't live very long. Like they only live to be like 9, 10 tops.
A 10-year-old perch is noteworthy. It's exceptional.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of things back behind us here. Keeping it interesting. So perch population. And I think a lot of us are kind of down on it, other places, but it's like, I don't think of Erie as a perch place. I mean, but again, the population, when you have bad hatches, right? Like you can't do anything. And these walleyes are eating the tar out of them.
Just part of the story. We have a lot of walleye. Obviously, they eat some amount of perch. And when you have 70 million walleye, there's some perch being consumed. But for 10 years, I told people, come to the Central Basin, because 10 years ago, it was incredible. Big population, great fishing. And now I'm not, embarrassed to tell people, come to the West Basin. It's where our best perch fishing is. There's good size perch, good numbers, good catch rate. Right now, you need to go to the West if you want perch, and that'll likely change over the next decade.
Okay, we got another good one. We have a bad one on there, too. We have the peanut gallery. People know there's consequences. But anyhow, emerald shiner population status.
Yeah, so the history of emerald shiners is, and this goes back to 100 years ago, there's records of emerald shiners being boom or bust. Very highly reproductive. When they have
like perch,
just like perch, but on steroids, because you can have giant population fluctuations in a short time. I would argue right now we have more shiners than we had for a while after the 2016 hurricane remnants, and I don't remember which one it was, but the one that came from New York. That really seemed to do something that changed it. Like they really went downhill after that. And Now we're seeing them again. They aren't widespread. They're not abundant offshore. Some of that's to do with walleye. I think they're doing better in nearshore areas, marinas, harbors, river mouths. I mean, those are the places you see them now, but definitely more than there was. The bait stores are catching them more frequently than they were. They're more available. So as always, we'll see them boom and bust. And right now they're kind of somewhere in between.
Okay. Forage as a whole.
We're fortunate. You think about the other Great Lakes, pretty much single species, forage dependent. Alewives are kind of the story, right? Balancing stocked predators to not overgraze the alewives. Erie's different. We have gizzard shad, emerald shiners, rainbow smelt. We even have alewives now, kind of added them back into the mix. So seasonally, regionally, there's something for all predators to eat. And we're just fortunate that fish are in the condition they're in.
That's the question I've asked you privately many times, and it seemed to about every 6 months, because it's like, hey, you got a family of 3 and you're making what you make, and all of a sudden now you got to feed 20 kids, because that's kind of what happened. We've got whatever the number is that everybody says, 100 million fish or whatever. It's a lot more than it was. And it seemingly, we don't seem to have as many bait fish, but like, I don't think I've seen a goby anytime soon. Like, I think they've been eaten by smallmouth or walleyes or whatever. Like, they just go to different stuff.
Yeah, we've seen a change there. They likely, gobies overpopulated offshore habitat. So when we trawled, we caught gobies as our number one catch for quite a while on our offshore trawl survey. They probably weren't well suited for that habitat, but fish have absolutely grazed them down to where now they're mostly in the rocky nearshore habitat where you would expect them. Can't really index them there. It's hard to know how many are there compared to what were there, but offshore they're almost non-existent.
So in any of your I guess what you call them, test trawls or studies or from dissections, are you seeing anything that you normally didn't see them eat at all that you're starting to see more consistent?
No, not really. What you usually see is a reflection of what's out there. So obviously in the fall, we see lots of gizzard shad in their stomachs. In the summer, it's more of a mix of shiners, shad, smelt, yellow perch, occasionally white perch. Where they are is reflected in what they eat. So you look at what's in the stomach and it's what's abundant where they are.
So given that one, the fact that I have learned through you about the gizzard shad and how they can't be eaten, like 99% of them can't get eaten.
Oh, yeah.
So give them the numbers on the size stuff.
So it's mostly young of year and yearling gizzard shad that are being eaten. And in the fall, when we're all trolling crankbaits that are in that 5-inch range, 6-inch range, that's the size of a young year shad in the fall. So they're
9 months, you tell me? That after about 9 months, they're too big realistically to have predators?
So when they get into being yearlings and when they start hitting that 9-10-inch plus size, then you've already eliminated most of even the smaller walleye from eating them. So yeah, they're really vulnerable in their first year. They kind of grow out of it in their yearling year, their second year. And then after that, they're just big adults that really only muskie or something else would eat. Now,
this next question, I said I'm going to reward these people. And so this one's a little off color. I'm just going to warn you. But why do sheep have protruding buttholes?
So we went there, didn't we?
I mean, it's an honest, because I've seen them, and I've literally seen the zebra mussels coming out of them. Like, they eat zebra mussels.
So you answered the question. And the thing about drum is
really the zebra butt.
They're very adaptive. So we've all caught them on crankbaits. We've all caught them.
I haven't, but I hear you catch them a lot. Yeah, I'm listening.
We've all caught them on harnesses. They can feed up in the water column effectively, and then if things are tough or they're what they're doing changes, they can go down the bottom and eat zebra mussels. When they eat zebra mussels, they crush them. They have those hard crushing teeth in the back of their throat. They crush the shells up. They eat everything, and the shells come out the other end, and likely that's what you're seeing.
Bloody buttholes. Nice. Well, I in all seriousness, I mean, I haven't caught too many, of course. Anybody's fishing with me, if you know, you know. But on forward-facing sonar, the old Mega Live 2, I have seen allegedly sheep go streaking through the water column, and you're thinking, hey, this is a nice big fish. No, they're not. They look a little shinier, as my buddy says on the screen. A little insight tip for you guys there. No question, just stopping by to say I like the content. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you. Appreciate you watching. Lake Erie ice fishing. Hope we can be doing that soon. High five. Yeah. So what did we really prepare? Because this is kind of your deal. We like tapping into your brain. People already know about my mush mouth. So
Well, it's been a developing conversation with us, right? So what's appropriate releasing fish? What environmental conditions impact fish survival? All of us want the fish we release to survive, right? We don't, if we're releasing fish, that's the goal. And
well, I think even before that, like how that conversation takes place, social media is almost where we all see our stuff, right? And then how these topics come about. And the one that I keep hearing is guys are like, and I ask you because I don't know. I always say I'm not a biologist. So these guys are like, caught 75 today, kept my 12. And it's like, okay, in March or April? Like, I mean, I'm just using common sense. You're going to give us the science on this. But when you get into July, probably even June at some points, depending on how and where you're fishing or the year. Right now we're at 81 surface temp. So that's kind of, I'm building that up for you to be like, okay, so this isn't necessarily just any time.
Right.
But give us the conditions where this probably isn't a good situation.
A lot of it's common sense. And Ross started asking about this. So I dug into the published peer-reviewed literature. I looked at the work we've done in the state of Ohio. And it was actually really comforting to see that the published information matches like real world observations. And I'm sure you've seen the same thing, Ross. You can have your live well on recirculate. You can have pumping water in on a time switch. And there's a certain temperature late in the spring, early summer where it just
like flipping a switch.
It just stops mattering, right? Like at the end of the day, they're not kicking your butt. You couldn't have released them at the end of the day if they're in your live well. And what the literature says is 65 degrees. So walleye prefer a little warmer temperature. They like 68 to 73, over their range in certain situations. What they can survive is well below that. Once you get above 64, when you're 65 and higher, they really struggle physiologically to recover from any handling, any additional stress. And unfortunately, that matches up, that temperature above 65 matches up when they're going deeper. So all of a sudden we're catching them deeper. So now we're putting another type of stress on them. And the magic number there is 30. If you're fishing shallower than 30 feet, you have some level of security or safety. They're not going to have physiological issues from being brought up. But if you're catching them 30 feet or deeper, there's a syndrome called barotrauma where they have pressure relieved too fast, their air bladder overinflates, and then even their stomach and intestines can inflate with air because you've had pressure relieved so quickly. So it's 30 and 65.
And so just because you let a fish go, because I've seen this when it's flat, calm, and you circle on a spot, just because you let a fish go, especially like in our case, you get a 13-inch fish or something, and those seem to be a little more spunky, and they seem just like, 3-year-old crawling around on the floor. If my knees did what he did, or yours, we'd be done, right? But all of a sudden, just because that fish swam away, and all of a sudden we go back up, and you're like, that's the one we just released. It's got the mark on the thing, and just because they swim away doesn't mean that they're going to live. You want to one or two people before you, I can remember as a kid hearing the studies, and they were really big when we were shooting some Wild Ohio stuff way back in the day when old Corn Crib Jeff was around there. If you know, you know. And he was always like, it's how you handle them. Just like, somebody gets punched in the face 10 times, it's not going to be good. And his big thing was always about wetting your hands and not get the protective slime coat off because that's their immune system. Yep. And that maybe I'm not saying that exactly right, but it was like, don't lay them on the carpet of your boat. If you take that off, you've made that thing much more susceptible. And again, social media trends, not picking at anyone, but I see this a lot. These guys throw them all on the floor and they're like, released all our fish. And they got them laying on the floor trying to take a picture. And you're like, ooh, man, you probably killed 3 times as many fish as you think you did.
Comes back to, what you said, hands wet when you're handling them. Look at your net bag. Do you have a rubberized net coating? Do you have a soft net without large knots at the corners of the mesh? And then minimize handling time, right? So I'll like to go back, and as we saw today, you want to be careful handling fish for your own health.
We had a guy get hooked today real good. We let him touch one thing. You guys that fish with me, I know a bunch of you guys watching this fish with me. That's why I don't let you do this.
This is why we can't have nice
We
things.
had one of our media team get hooked this year. Thank God not with me, because I would have videoed that for sure. But
But if you can control your own safety and health handling fish, sometimes I'll just go back to the back corner, leave them in the water, grab them, as unintrusively as I can, and just unhook them right there and let them go. So you don't net them, you don't take them out of the water. Little handling as possible.
And the point of this is not pointing fingers or you'd be like, oh, my buddy Jim does that on, you're talking about. Everyone has to learn something somewhere, just like we all had to learn how to troll or cast or do whatever it is. One of the things I learned a long time ago was that you can drown a fish. And then a lot of guys, if you are trolling or drifting or whatever, doesn't matter. You're going one way with a boat, or however what that is. Is it still true? Am I right that the gills can't go backwards? So a lot of guys put them fish down the opposite way of the boat's going, so the water's going backwards on them. And I've been told you can drown a fish quite literally.
I mean, you're best off holding them into flow so they can control the flow of water over their gills.
Not backwards.
Right.
So we have a little thing I got. I just want you to see This is a hype button. So
I thought you got the easy button.
This is an easy button, but it's more annoying. I honestly got this because certain people around me didn't want to hear the hype button. So now if we get something wrong, you can hit the hype button if I'm wrong on something.
Can I start now?
Yeah, you breathe. Travis said today, what did I do wrong? Did I breathe? He lost a couple fish yesterday. They were really nice ones.
Well, all of a sudden it's a couple?
Well, I mean, I didn't want to talk about all of them, but I mean, I feel like we should now because we're talking about no hype. Anyhow, we're going to interrupt for Ryan.
So I'm going to click on this. We're going to show this one.
Yeah, there you go. Read it. Go ahead.
So is the lake's different bait fish populations healthy enough to sustain the massive walleye population? I would argue we cleaned fish the last 2 days, right? We took a look in both inside and out with these fish. Walleye condition, their weight relative to their length is the best indicator of not just the walleye's health, but the ecosystem, the food chain.
They were kind of like you. They were a little plump.
They're healthy, just like me.
And I know what they're eating: thunder sticks.
But the thing to keep in mind is you don't get good walleye hatches and good walleye production without a productive system. It's not walleye in a vacuum, and we're spoiled. We have very productive system. We have a very diverse food community. It's not just one species. And if there was a real problem, you'd start seeing the skinny fish. They wouldn't have fat. They'd be they'd be skinny for their length. It'd be long fish with a snakehead.
And so let's I don't know how much you know about this, but I used to fish Saginaw Bay a lot more than I do now. And I can remember up there, like all the guys listening to this that maybe know or don't know, but basically all the salmon left Lake Huron, swam around to Lake Michigan, and there was basically lake trout left. And then the walleye population, they had a ton of them, but they were all like, you could catch a 30-incher and it weighed 5 pounds. Mm-hmm. They looked like you said, like a gym sock, and it looked like a yardstick long type of thing. And so they had a forage issue. We had that on the Missouri River, pulling stuff through the dam, like Lake Oahe had that big time. They pulled too much stuff through. So surprisingly, we really don't, even though I'm kind of apprehensive too. I'm like, how do we feed 50 million more mouths and we're still good? But the system kind of took care of itself.
Well, and these things cycle. We had a lot of fish in the 80s, very productive, good fishing, healthy walleye, lots of walleye. We didn't get a lot of great hatches in the 90s and early 2000s, other than one, the big 2003 year class. I keep telling everyone we're not going to have 7 giant hatches the next 10 years. We've had 7 really big ones the last 10 years. If the lake continues to be productive, sure. But history tells us we aren't going to get 2 decades consecutively of giant hatches and huge productivity. So,
oh boy, I saw Country Steve up on there. This is not going to be good. This is not going to be good.
So we'll show this one. Does the maturity of the fish make a difference? So I think like everything else, bigger, larger fish are going to be more impacted by stress. And, so think about your 30-inch fish that's down here to build eggs, that's down here for cold water and smelt. Like the more stress you put her through, the harder it is on her compared to that, 15-inch fish you were talking about that's young and spry and maybe it doesn't impact it so much. So yeah, I'd argue there's potentially more stress on the bigger fish.
Country Steve would have to address this.
So you want to show them?
Yeah, I mean, we might.
It's all yours.
When's the last time you fished Saginaw Bay? And did you use live scope? Well, actually, Country Steve, I would have to drive by your house. So anytime I go to Saginaw Bay, I'm not telling you. And I'm fishing with somebody that's better than you on Saginaw Bay. The man who wins up there, it used to be good. And I think it was actually ice fishing the last time. And what was his other part of that? Oh, did I use live scope? No, I did not use live scope. Because, I mean, I can actually still use a little bit of like non-hype to catch them. I don't need to see them on the screen. We just use that internal gut instinct. Yeah, they're over that way.
All right. Well, this next one's a good one. It's putting stuff together that we've been talking about.
Great Lakes Fanatic. That just sounds like a good handle.
It's perfect, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Big Water Fanatic.
Well, that could be a court case.
So Great Lakes Fanatic says, I live on a 500-acre man-made lake in southern Indiana. Has a stocked walleye population, current surface temp of 84. Would a walleye caught in 20 feet adapt to a lake with that temp for a successful release? The reality is, so you've eliminated one thing. You're likely not going to have barotrauma, so you won't have the inflated swim bladder. You won't have to worry about that aspect of it. But every second of fighting, of handling, of catching and releasing that fish is really incremental in this water temp. So yeah, if you catch it in 20 feet, short fight, handle it lightly, release it, it has the best chance. We know that you're at a max temperature. Right now the muskie world is really wrestling over this. Should you even fish for muskie over 75 degrees?
Our buddy Pete Mania, he's been on our podcast. He was like, and again, that's kind of in a different way with the walleye thing. Again, there's less muskies, so there's more walleyes, and I don't know that should change anything, but it definitely makes it a different deal when there's so many fewer fish and they take so long to get so big. But yeah, Pete is crazy with that, with trying to educate the people, and he's eccentric a little bit with it, but I like it.
I'd say in this specific case, you're at the high end of risk, but it's one concern not to.
Yeah, I see Country Steve. He just gave us a little huggy face thing. I bet that was Mrs. Country Steve, and she probably typed that as well, just for everybody. Oh, so the guy. Okay, let's do this. Country Steve, you guys love Country Steve. I mean, somebody's got to. So the guy fished Saginaw Bay with uses live scope and catches a big check in Saginaw Bay, and the guy you're referring to hasn't cashed a check in maybe a decade or two. Wow, this inside jokes. We're going to keep moving on from that. Country Steve is now a forward-facing snob. But you guys know when you see Country Steve, ask him about the Z-Man graph shads and who smoked his butt on that. Mrs. Country Steve is now 100% not wrong. Anyhow, so what do you actually prepared some stuff there? What do we got on our? You got there's some formal stuff. He spent some time digging some things up because we wanted some. I asked them for some facts. I want to know this from my own personal because, again, I see a lot of guys. They're taking their 18 fish, but we're really killing 60 or something. You know what I mean? And not good.
So I did find something I thought would be interesting. So either in a tournament setting where you're having to hold fish in a live well all day, or just if you're catching and releasing, want to take a few photos, what makes it okay? Well, first and foremost, catch them from less than 30 feet of water. You want your live well temp and the water temp to be under 65. So think about that. If you're fishing at 62 degrees and it's a 75 degree day, what's that live well water temperature by the end of the day if you don't recycle it, Ross?
It's hot. Yeah. And a lot of guys will bring bags of ice and things like that. But I think the other thing too is like a guy told me all the time, we all take pictures. I take pictures. I'm pretty good at it, and we give them a little break, as I like to call it. We keep that live weight chilled. But the thing that people don't realize is the guy that taught me the game said, you don't take that fish out of the water any longer than you're going to hold your breath while you're doing it. And, you take pictures for 10 minutes. I've watched fish literally die. I mean, and again, when it's warmer, it goes a lot faster than when it does in March or something like that.
So what are the things you can do? One, aeration's critical. We all have aerators on our live well. You need to run them on timed or whatever your boat lets you do. pumping water in is just as important because ammonia is a big deal. Increasing ammonia in the water can really do physiological damage. So keep pumping in water.
Now we have to put this comment up. Country Steve is becoming a digital media machine. He doesn't want to talk when he's on our own podcast, but now he's Mr. Typey.
It's all yours.
True, Mrs. Country is also in the house. And then we have Yes Graph Shed kicked Country Steve's booty when he fished with me the last time. Mrs. Country, Mr. Country Steve could not admit that. And that's no height. So anyhow, what else do we have on our list of being a good?
So we recirculate water and aerate. We pump water in. The other thing, and this is, I think, kind of catching the bass world now. I don't know whether I've seen it in the walleye world, but the air quality in the live well is important. If you think about it, you got the water, but it's also off-gassing in that little bit of air that's in the live well. So venting your live well is a big deal.
I've seen, I think there's a company that makes a little deal now, and it's like, it looks like a little chimney
It's
deal.
a baffle.
And that way you don't. So what I think you're talking about, correct me here, is when you open your live well and it's a fuzzy mess and you see that, what is it? I'm trying to think of what chemical or whatever it is when you see all that like yellowing. One of the other biologists told me, what is that? Where it's basically the poo and the other stuff that gets on the surface. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're doing.
Maybe I should get a real biologist on here.
Maybe you should.
We'll have to come back to that one. But yeah, you got to vent it. The other thing that I do to help neutralize some of that stuff is that U2 live well solution. Mm-hmm. Like it's really good with minnows, but also for your live well there, that blue solution that is good for neutralizing. And it also kind of the bleeding fish supposedly helps clot that. Seems to help out.
So the other thing it does is it helps moderate temperature. So if you have that live well closed for a long time, it is a sunny, warm day, you're trapping heat and warming it up. So it's both air quality and temperature moderation.
Right on.
You mentioned temperature, like cooling the water. One of the things that I thought was interesting, it's not good to excessively cool the water. So if you're putting ice in or putting a frozen milk jug in.
You don't want to go from the hot tub to the cold lake.
No, what you want to do is you want to keep the water temp the same as the ambient water temp or slightly lower. But you don't want, so if you're in 70-degree water, you don't want to have it 55 or 60 degrees.
And they're making it easier for us now. Like my Ranger 622 Pro has a digital gauge. Like I can, from my console, see what the temperature of my live well is, which is kind of a nice deal.
All right, we got a few comments going on here.
That's a lock that one.
You're sure right now, shouldn't it? Deeper water. So this is a good one for you, for us.
I'll do some cleaning.
So this is relevant to something you did recently.
We've got somebody from India here that definitely wants our attention. What will you do for $500? I'd love to talk to you later. Are you lonely? Actually, I am because
I think that was for Country Steve.
Yeah, Country Steve's never lonely when I'm there, though.
So the one we just posted, though.
Jim wants to know why he's catching his walleyes near shore right now. Shouldn't they have left out to deeper cold water? We just shot a video for everybody. 8 feet of water, 8 to 10 feet of water we just caught our fish in. So I'm going to let you tell them why that is.
So it's 100%. So this is a case in the West Basin where it's warm water they don't want to be in, right? Walleye don't want to persist in 82-degree water, but it's an extremely food-rich environment. That Maumee River plume has a lot of nutrients. There's a whole lot of productivity, a lot of prey fish. They're in there because it's the best return for their investment for chasing food around and eating.
Well, and a lot of times, like where we were at, there was weeds. Means oxygen, right? Yeah. So it's either really skinny or really deep, and there's that void, just like we have right where we're at right now. There's a huge void that they call the hypoxia. It's the Dead Sea, kind of like. Well, I'm not going to say. It's not nice. I just censored myself. This is a live. Everybody was really worried on the team about this. They said that I'm not live friendly. I don't really know what that means.
You want Steve's other comment?
I kind of want to talk to the guy from India that's going to give me $500 a month just to. In our Ranger live wells during tournaments, we get a lot of water splashing around. Do you recommend filling to the top and then putting like swim noodles on the top? It's kind of, I'm paraphrasing him. So
you want to minimize physical damage to their head, their back. Like if the fish are bouncing around and hitting something hard above them, it's not a good deal. So yeah, that's the best solution I've seen is either using like the foam padding on your lid or putting the floating noodles in to kind of move around and keep the fish from hitting the ceiling of the live well, so to speak. If you're going to minimize their physical damage, it's a good thing.
I would tell you a lot of what happens, because when we were fishing and we have maybe a little bit better grade of fish and we have 18 or 24 in a live well, realistically, a live well, like even on a Ranger 622s, are not made for 24 fish. And so at the end of the day, my screens are full of scales and all this stuff where those fish are rubbing on themselves. So if you're really trying to do that, put a cooler in the fish that you're going to harvest. And the fish, that's, if you watch our videos and the ones we just shot, we use the live well as a temporary thing just to get them in there. And then the fish that we're going to harvest and we keep track of, they're going to go right into a cooler. So any fish that could be released, or we're going to take a picture or something like that, it's going to be in the live well and not with 100 of them in there.
And in the case you're describing, the water quality is a bigger issue than the physical abuse.
Oh, I mean, when you get like 18 walleyes, even like decent sized ones in my live well, the water just looks like a swimming pool after you let 20 dogs in it or something.
Why would you do that?
I didn't. I put 24. Anyhow, back to your. I'm really impressed. You have like printed out like multiple things going on there.
I think that covers the high points. We hit all the highest points.
What's the other sheet? I mean, that seems like.
So this is all the stuff that came out of the manuscripts. This is a summary of it.
Interesting. So long story short, 30 feet or deeper, gonna be dead. 65 or higher, you're going to have to do some really good fish care. You put 65 and deeper than 30, which are kind of two things that go hand in hand. Yeah. Like you said, you're going to get one, you're going to get the other. Probably not good, right? But no, just because you let a fish go, the chance of its survival, if it's those two conditions, is not good. But also, even if it's 55 degrees and you're 25 feet down, like that number may be a hard number, but if you've let that thing lay on the floor of your boat and taken pictures for 35 minutes, it's probably a goner.
When you think about it, right now we have the best ability to know where that fish came from. If we're trolling, we have dive curves. We have some sense of the depth our baits are fishing. If you're live scoping, you saw the depth that fish came out of when it hit your lure. Like more than ever, we know how deep we're catching fish.
Now we know. After fishing with me for a couple of days, is there anything that you'd like to notify the people of?
Not on a live. That wouldn't be good for any of us.
That's kind of a chicken poop thing to say. I spent $14 on this, but it's been worth it just annoying all the people at the homestead.
We're gonna have to destroy that as soon as this is over.
This is the last question, unless somebody pops in quickly. Take it, Travis. Bring us home.
All right. So years ago, I heard certain times a day, walleye can't see bait fish, nature's way of protecting. Any truth? I'm going to go the opposite.
Hype. Okay.
I'm going to go the opposite direction with it. We know for a fact that at low light, so sunrise, sunset, walleye have a distinct advantage over their prey. So walleye can see extremely well in low light. They have an advantage over all the prey they eat. I wouldn't say that they have certain times a day that they can't see bait fish. It's just they lose that advantage they have over them at sunrise or sunset.
Because perch can't see where jack, right?
I'm not sure about that.
I've heard that's what I've heard. Is that maybe like at night people can't catch perch? They go sit down there kind of dormant. No.
Some of that has to do with vision. It might be other things at play.
Maybe they're just lazy.
Maybe.
I mean, I know a guy.
Maybe they're scared of the dark.
See Travis in the boat, he moves like a snail.
I think the video would suggest otherwise.
Well, we'll see. You guys see if that's hype or not. Those batteries are so good and fresh in there.
You want that one?
Yeah. You know, whatever. Yeah. Now we say we're getting ready to kill. They bring it. Does Chris only talk on his boat? He talked a lot in the shallow water smackdown video. Chris is one of those guys. Boss lady is she says, Chris, when you get him going, you can't stop him. He's a runaway train. Getting him going at times, very difficult. Once you do, you can't stop it. Is that right?
Yeah, but it's great when he goes.
Yeah. And she likes when he goes on a tangent, she said. And yeah, a couple of the team members like it when he starts getting a little spunky with me. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.
Well, you earn it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He just. Yeah, Chris is a chill cat. You get him going.
180 of you.
Yeah, I mean, we're very similar.
That's not what I said.
Math not your thing, huh?
Hit the hype button for me.
Hype. No hype there. All legit. Any rate,
It's backwards. You have to.
upside down around.
Did he get through all of his stuff?
I think we're through, where we did what we need to do. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We've got a podcast and a couple of videos that will be rolling down the street here somewhat quickly.
Drop tonight.
We have a cooking video. The posse said cooking video, what we did with Fred Zink. What was Cheeks? Yeah, Cheeks, very good. We have another one in the hopper there too. So we're popping out tons of videos.
What did your members get to see today?
Oh yeah. We're doing members only section. They got a fishing report. They got the low down gritty dirty of everything that happened there. Members only section. We are pumping out a lot of videos on those. Thank you to all of you who have joined for that deal. Members, remember the members only jackets? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have to ask though, in the cooking video dropping tonight, did they use a toothbrush?
Read that one.
This one.
Is it this? What is it? Yeah, is that one? Pop that one up. We're going to do this. Here's the deal, guys. You know what the part in all seriousness before I answer this? The thing about fishing that's just amazing is the camaraderie. Like we're at fish camp here. Thank you for stealing my thunder. And we're having some fun, and some guys they got the chops busted a little bit, and even Travis kind of got in on it. So you guys mentioned you clean fish today. Did B Team Bob help? Travis?
Our fish cleaning today was impacted by cleaning fish with Bob in the past.
In what way, Travis?
It was a lot more enjoyable today.
Wow! That's no hype. So let's talk, because Bob's probably watching this. You know, right? He's probably watching. So like, was it just because of? I mean, are we talking about like speed? Are we talking to? I want to hear a little more. Let's get into this.
You know, we all have our things, right? And Bob is very process oriented.
Really? Okay.
And it results in an amazing end product. But we probably clean fish in half the time today.
Oh, you think it was that fast?
I do.
Half? Probably 5 times better. But did anything touch anything it wasn't supposed to?
Well, the fillets touched water. I'll say it. We cleaned the fillets in water, and that might not have been appreciated.
Okay. That's a good question, Andy Patrol. Thank you. That was a good one. Yeah. Clean fish today. B Team Bob. Yeah, it was about a 10-minute process. And then also we had a guy who had a fillet knife. He got junked up, and so somebody had to clean him, most of them ripping through. But anyway, there's no hype there.
So that's how you saw that?
Yeah. I killed
So
him.
I cleaned fish manually without an electric knife, and you were the one that suffered?
Yeah, because you didn't bring the proper tools to the job. I brought them. Stop it. Anyhow, going to be gone. Ask now, forever hold your peace. We're out. Members only section. Make sure you check it out. Tons of videos up there. Cooking videos, podcast. A couple days on the lake where we straight up smoked them. Got some good stuff for you. Until the next episode, we out.